You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Here we are, Monday, January 2nd, 2012. That's going to take some getting used to. We're going to be here for the next 3 hours live. And we don't have any guests today. I want to have open phones throughout the 3 hours. Obviously, I want to break down the New Year's Eve signing of the traitorous puppet in chief, Barack Hussein, who really knows who he is, Obama, and the treacherous Republican Congress that helped ram it through with the help of the Democrats, who are nothing more than errand boys, grocers' clerks, carrying out a little errand for their masters, the foreign offshore banks that have taken over our society. I saw a clip on Infowars.com, an article Kurt Nimmo wrote over the weekend with another national talk show host and his guest caller saying that anybody that likes Ron Paul is an anti-Semite, and that I'm an anti-Semite, and that if you don't like what the bankers are doing to you, you're an anti-Semite. I mean, always injecting that into everything. That's why the system is so discredited, and that's why we're in such a deep crisis. Because the establishment has taken over the planet through fraud and through deception, but now the world is waking up to it, and the establishment is just going ahead with everything, and it's on a collision course. Last night as I went to bed at about midnight, I just laid there in the bed marveling at how textbook and how over-the-top absurdist the cameras and the black uniforms and the ski mask and the checkpoints and the hands down the pants TSA and the jumbo screens all over the country with Homeland Security heads saying, "I'm here to protect you, don't trust your neighbors," and the raids on Amish, and the push for forced inoculation, and the giant prisons everywhere, and the brainwashing of police and military, and the announcements of indefinite detention. It's right out of a dystopic novel. And the reason it was hitting me so hard is I watched Equilibrium with Christian Bale last night when I was on the treadmill. Again, I'm trying to run twice a day. And I was watching it, and I hadn't watched it in a few years. And it came out a decade ago or so. And it was like the government's force drugging people. That's going on through the food, the water, and then overtly through pharmacia and the illegal drugs they ship in, the big pharma as well. There's big jumbotron screens saying, you know, only trust your big brother government everywhere. There's police in black uniforms with machine guns. There's armored vehicles driving around on the streets. There's paramilitary police SWAT teaming people. And that's basically where we are. And now they're announcing, hey, we're going to start censoring your speech. And even the inventors of the internet admit it's the end of internet freedom as we know it. It's all happening. But there are 400 million guns conservatively of new manufacture. That's the last 80 years is how they gauge it in this country. There's over 150 million gun owners. Record gun sales took place the last month. And you've got one guy in Washington State who's running from the cops, and they got hundreds of them out there for one guy with guns. I mean, it just shows you how the system is a paper tiger, but it thinks it's invincible. It's going to start a war with the American people. We'll talk about it coming up. This is Alex Jones with 5. Here we are. It is the first live radio transmission that I've engaged in the new year. It, of course, is Monday, the second day of January, 2011, 2012, 2013. So that's going to take some getting used to. By the time I'm accustomed to saying 2012, it'll already be 2013. But we are going to be here for the next 3 hours today on this Monday, the second day of January, 2012. And later in the transmission, I do want to give you my breakdown of what I think is going to unfold in 2012 and what we're going to see the establishment do in this key year on so many fronts, with Iran, with the global economy, with the domestic police state that's being duplicated, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. That is all coming up today. And then I have this little Economist article, and the cover of it says, "Reviving the World Economy, Stand Back, I'm a Central Banker." And it takes a famous, I guess, Dutch painting of doctors engaging in a dissection of a dead body, but instead the central banker is holding defibrillators like he's going to restart the heart of the economy. This would be more accurate if it showed the central bankers as vampires and all sinking their teeth into the not quite yet dead person, soon to be cadaver. Then it would be accurate. But this is the problem. They always sell the central bankers as the solution to every problem when they are on its face the complete authors of the architecture of the system we live under today. You can certainly partially blame the public for being lazy and easy to con for this happening. We can all blame ourselves and look in the mirror at one level or another. And for all of us selling out, even at a subconscious level, to the system. But the main drivers, the captains of the ship, the New World Order system, those piloting our culture, are the 6 mega private banks that created the front consortiums of the so-called Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Bank of England, which are just their quasi-government fronts to carry out their crimes. They are the enemy. They are the authors of the carbon tax, of the open borders, of the imperial wars, of the police state, of the medical mafia pushing forced inoculations. In every case, it is a handful of families that are the private shareholders of the 6 global megabanks. We've listed them here many times: Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, and then a few other European consortium banks that are all really owned by the same people. So it's 6 consortiums. And they are the authors of it all. I mean, I showed you The Economist magazine from November. And this is the type of publication, just like the Times of London or the Financial Times, which is even more important, where they throw it in your face. Remember that article a few years ago by the foreign editor of the Financial Times of London? Headline, "And now for world government." Please put that on screen. If you're a radio listener on XM or local AM and FM, you're saying, put it on screen. Yes, we're simulcasting everything at prisonplanet.tv. And we also have the nightly news there if you're a subscriber. But we've now started a system where you can watch a lower res version of the show live. Not just the audio at Infowars.com there in the right-hand corner. Now everybody can basically watch. If you go to Infowars.com and click the upper watch the show live banner, you can actually see this for yourself. There it is. And now for world government. December 9th, 2008. Wow, that seems like yesterday. That's actually 3 years ago. Wow, a little over 3 years ago. And he goes on to say, yes, there's a private global corporate government. Yes, it's authoritarian in nature. Go read the article. And yes, we're going to take your liberties, but it's because your nation states are primitive. That's why they have an image of a cave drawing there. And we know best. We're technocrats, and we kept it secret from you for your own interest. And that is exactly what The Economist, November 19th, the 25th weekly edition that I've covered so much here, said. They say, yes, technocrats have run things in the Soviet era and didn't do probably the best job, but our technocrats are better. And they say in here, you can argue that this is the best system now, and regardless, that's what runs things. So it is an apologetic, open world government article, but saying it's for your own interest. And that particular article is titled, Minds Like Machines, Technocrats. Minds like machines. Technocracy was once a communist idea. With the proletariat in power, administration could be left to experts. Ah, yes. Or we can have a big computer run everything. There's the actual article. I have my little photocopies here so I can highlight it. And it goes on, technocracy and autocracy have long been natural bedfellows. Technocrats rule big chunks of public life. Central bankers are one example. And it goes on here, even highly political governments set up independent or bipartisan panels to make difficult decisions. Yeah, so spending bills originate in the Super Congress now, not by individual members, such as closing military bases, setting electoral boundaries, and making spending cuts. No, it's supposed to be simple votes. They create independent agencies, independent, but the globalists run them, to run everything from healthcare to education. They put outside experts in top jobs, such as the economist Larry Summers in the Clinton administration and Obama administrations that got rid of Glass-Steagall. Yeah, what great experts they were. And then you go on here, let me find the actual part. They got another quote where it says, and yes, you can argue that we need technocrats now. They know how to run things best. Now, I just showed you the, in fact, reprint me that, because there were two versions. He had another one that was a blog responding to everybody. I don't know if that's the blog or the original article. Scroll up for me, please, so I can read it. And when you read it there, he actually breaks down that it's for the betterment of everybody. He says, I've never believed that there is a secret. You put it back on screen for me, please. I've never believed that there is a secret United Nations plot to take over the U.S. I've never seen black helicopters hovering in the sky above Montana. But for the first time in my life, I think the formation of some sort of world government is plausible. A world government. So again, if you don't like world government, you're a kook, but we need one. And I think this is his blog response when he got attacked for saying we need a world government. A world government would involve much more than cooperation between nations. It would be an entity with state-like characteristics backed by a body of laws. The European Union has already set up a continental government for 27 countries, which could be the model. The EU has the Supreme Court, a currency, thousands of pages of law, a civil service, and an ability to deploy military force. So could the European model go global? There are three reasons for thinking that it might. First, it's increasingly clear that the most difficult issues facing national governments are international in nature. There is a global warming, a global financial crisis, and a global war on terror. Now, what did Club of Rome say in the 60s? We'll use the terror threat, the environmental threat, and other threats